Hi guys, so I wanted to make a response video to Kyle Kalinske here because I think Kyle is missing something. He's so embedded in politics, somewhat like myself, that we don't see the bigger picture. We don't see how the average Joe on the street actually views politics. And it's very different to how I view it and how Kyle views it. So let's see the video. I'm going to stop at different parts to respond to what Kyle is saying.
Joe Biden released an ad with the purpose of bringing in young voters. Let's see how that went.
Like outside, I was kind of just standing there on my phone. We all knew that he was coming out.
I was just like, "Hi, Vice President Biden, how are you?" Like, I was like freaking out.
Like, I just hear like a roar, and then I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" You can kind of see him from like the very back of my selfie.
It's been my Facebook profile picture for the last 4 years. It's not a very good picture of me, but it is a picture of me with Vice President.
I just want to stop it for a moment because it's quite interesting. If you look at the views on this video, it's 335,000 views. Now, I don't know how old the video is, but that's quite a reasonable amount of views for a Facebook video.
Joe Biden.
I lived in Delaware all my life, so I grew up. You saw him at the grocery store getting some coffee on our college campus. I worked at the university, and he just came and he walked into my job, asked us a couple questions about what we like to do. He's really trying to get to know each one of us, and you could see that, you know.
He's just like your cool family member that you know, or like a family friend that you just spoke to. Like, hi, but like I wouldn't call him Joe, but like if I knew him well enough, I'd be like, "Hey, Joe." That's the kind of vibe I get from him.
I've always loved politics. I've been involved in campus organizing since my freshman year.
All politics is personal when you live it.
The reason I'm here today is because I really believe in Joe Biden.
Please keep doing your thing. Like, I need you to win.
I love this guy, and I gotta help him become president for sure.
I support Joe Biden for president because of the Obama-Biden memes.
We love believing in nothing. I get so sad sometimes. Oh, that's so bad. That's so bad. Okay, listen. He doesn't bring up policy because he can't bring up policy.
Okay, he doesn't bring up policy. Of course he doesn't, because he can't bring up policy. Because why? Why does he not bring up policy? Because the general public don't vote on policy. They don't vote according to policy. They vote according to slogans. They vote according to the letter after the politician's name. They don't vote on policy. I thought you would have understood this. This campaign ad is not about policy because he's not interested. Well, he's not interested in presenting any policies to this group of people. Later on, I assume he's going to make videos about Obamacare and I don't know, dealing with the banks. I know he probably won't deal with the banks, but it's just decoration, really. The policy is decoration. The real reason people vote for a particular politician is because they like the politician. I know it's the wrong reason. I believe deeply in policy. You believe deeply in policy too, Kyle. Both of us are on the same page here, but we are not the people the politicians are speaking to. They're speaking to the masses. Why do the masses vote for particular politicians? As I've said, they vote according to image, perception, and, of course, the letter after the name. In the US, you have R for Republican, D for Democrat. Most of the people who will vote for Joe Biden in November vote for him because he has the letter D after his name. They vote for him because he looks like a politician. They vote for him because of the perception he creates, the association he had with Barack Obama. These are the reasons people vote for them. I'm not saying all, but the vast majority of people vote according to those criteria.
Because he's a neoliberal corporatist, and that's what he's going to pursue. That's what he's going to fight for.
And I'm sorry, but the general public don't care about that. You care about it, and I care about it. But the general public, no.
And that is totally uninspiring to young people. So what do? I don't know. Let's do an ad, and I got it. It'll be like a psychological trick. We'll show a bunch of young people talking about how much they like Joe, and then the young people at home will be like, I'm young, and they're young, and they seem to like this fellow. I guess I like him too.
You're being sarcastic here, of course, but for most people, it works. Most people don't care about policy. Most people don't care about politics. So you're making a joke about this, but in reality, it works. And if you don't believe me, look at Donald Trump. When Donald Trump won in 2016, it was based on his slogans and the perception of Donald Trump. Donald Trump gave off this persona as being the guy who didn't care about what people thought. He shot from the hip. He was incorruptible. He gave off this idea of what people wanted a president to be. Of course, it was a complete and utter failure, a complete and utter scam and sham. But people fell for it. And that's what politicians do. They try to sell you an idea. Unfortunately, the general public fall for that. The general public are not interested in policy.
I hate you all so much. That's so condescending. I mean, this is Pokemon Go to the polls type stuff. That's what this is. That's what this is.
It is, but it works.
So funny, you know, Bernie used to do the ads where he talks about his record all the time. Joe didn't, because it's hard to do an ad to appeal to young people. What are you going to do? Brag about the Iraq war vote? Are you going to brag about NAFTA? How about
But he doesn't need to brag to the young people. The young people will look at the options available to them. They'll be Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And they will say, okay, if they decide to vote, many young people probably will stay at home. They can't be bothered to vote. There's no motivation for them to vote. But Joe Biden doesn't really care about that. His goal is winning over people who probably voted for Trump last time. So he's going to probably run in that direction. And it's interesting that amongst older voters, Joe Biden is winning. Now, of course, it's early days and the polls can change. But at the moment, Joe Biden is winning over older voters. Now, why is that important? Older voters tend to vote. Young people don't tend to vote. So I know it's important. It's very important that young people do vote, because the policies that are implemented will affect them much more than it will affect older people. Not because of older people are not going to be around, but normally older people are retired. They don't need to join the workforce. They already have a home generally, or it's already paid off if they have a home. They're not, saddled with a huge amount of debt. So they're much more, they're much less affected by downturns in the economy or disastrous politics. But younger people are. But unfortunately, young people don't tend to vote. So any message to win over the young vote is, again, window dressing, is decoration.
TPP, which you've been pushing for relentlessly, even in the last term of Obama. What about the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act? You know what that is, guys? That is the repeal of Glass-Steagall, which was a very important piece of financial regulation.
Okay, but ask anyone on the street about Glass-Steagall. Ask them about it. What does it mean? What is it? I bet you could ask 10 people on the street about it, and maybe you might find one person who understands what it was. And I'm talking about young people. So they're not going to consider Joe Biden's record. I'm sorry, but they won't.
Which, when it was repealed, that helped lead to the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. So this guy served Wall Street, and they got rich, and people lost their homes and were kicked out of their homes. So that's what he did. He supported that Wall Street deregulation, which is supposed to be a right-wing idea. Joe Biden supported it. He supported the Patriot Act. Government can spy on everybody. He supported the Patriot Act. So weird, he can't do an ad where he's like, and look at my wonderful record. Because he's been wrong. So what does he do? Here's a young person saying they like me, and they like the memes with Obama. You like...
Yeah, but once again, it will work on a certain number of people. I don't know the exact percentage of people, but it's a considerable amount of people. You are a political junkie. I'm a political junkie. I care about policy. Once again, you care about policy. I go to you to hear about US policy. You are a huge supporter. You are still a huge supporter, I think, of Bernie Sanders. And principally because he ran on policy, not on decoration, not on perception, not on his image. He ran on policy, good policies. I agree with probably all of Bernie Sanders' policies. But that ship has sailed. Now the focus is on Joe Biden against Donald Trump. And as I said before, the vote is for Donald Trump or against Donald Trump. And who do you have against Donald Trump is Joe Biden.
Like memes, young one? I do too. Vote for me. And let me sniff your hair. I still can't get over the Medicare for All thing. How he literally said, he was asked the question, this is such a softball. The legislation is signed and it's made it to your desk. So in other words, all the fight that usually is one of the reasons why Democrats give, we can't get it through, so it's not possible, what do you want me to do? They said, skip all that. It made it to your desk. It passed the House of Representatives. It passed the Senate. Medicare for All made it to your desk. He said, I'd veto it. I got good news for Joe Biden, and the good news is this. And I mean this too. It is very, very possible he wins this election even without the young people and the leftists. It's very possible. It's very possible. You want to know why? He just won the primary with no young people and no leftists. So there was a giant increase in the older suburban voters drunk on CNN and MSNBC and basic anti-Trumpism. So, okay, let's see if that coalition can win you the general. And I'm not kidding when I say it might. It might win him the general. It might win him the general for sure. But, one thing's for damn sure. These ads are terrible. That's terrible. I'd rather you not reach out to me at all than reach out to me with this silliness. I'd rather you just be like, you know what? Okay.
But Kyle, they're not really reaching out to you. They're reaching out to young people who are apolitical. Reaching out to young people who are not all that bothered about policy. It's reaching out to young people who, when, they'd spend 2 minutes looking up from their phone at, is there an election on? Oh, okay, who should I vote for? Well, I don't like that Trump guy, but who's this guy? Joe Biden. Oh, okay. I heard of his name before. That's about as far as it goes for the vast majority of people. You're projecting your criticisms, which are legitimate criticisms, but you're projecting those criticisms onto Biden when the vast majority of people don't care.
Fine, you don't like me, I don't like you. Fine, I'll get the old suburban voters. Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's who your policies are more geared towards anyway. Even though in the Democratic primary, almost every Bernie idea polled overwhelmingly popular, but those people still turned around and voted for Biden, which shows that they're thinking of electability. Like, oh, who could beat Trump? Obviously, Bernie can't. Biden can, even though he can't speak. Let's go with him. So, but bottom line is, this is so condescending and so pedantic and so ridiculous, and I would rather you not even reach out at all than do this stuff. But, I mean, listen, we have our disagreements, and it is what it is. And, he's not going to agree on any of the things I care about. So, that's the decision that I had to make. Do I sacrifice all my values, or do I just sit out? And so I'm sitting out. But, hey, to be fair to Joe Biden and to be fair to people...
So, I don't know how to react to this, actually. So he's saying here that he's not going to vote in the general election. Now, he may change his mind before the general election arrives, and he's within his rights to do that. But if he sits it out, then he can't complain. I understand that he's in the state of New York, so he doesn't. He says that his vote wouldn't change anything anyway, because the Democrats will win with a huge majority in the state of New York. But you can't really complain about the system if you sit out. But in the sense that I was talking before about Jimmy Dore, you can't say, okay, I want to change the system from within, but I'm going to sit this one out. Because the only way you change the system from within is if you're inside the system. But I don't believe you can change the system from within. So if you want to minimize the damage, then you have to vote for Joe Biden. You have to support Joe Biden. You have to, in a way, campaign for Joe Biden. You have a huge platform. So in a way, you are obliged, if you believe that Donald Trump is a terrible person who's going to do a lot of damage to poor people, to the people that you say that you care about, then in a way you have to support Joe Biden. You have to look at the lesser of the two evils and say, I'm going to support Joe Biden. Now, I'm not saying to do that, but I'm saying if you want to be consistent with your philosophy, you have to sacrifice your ideals in order to support the lesser of the two evils. I know it's not something nice to hear, but that's the only way to be consistent. Because if you say, I'm not going to do that, then in a way you're helping Donald Trump to win. And then the damage that he will do after that. I'm not saying you as an individual voter, but you have a huge platform. You have almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So you have this, I can say, duty to convince people that they should vote for Joe Biden, irrespective of his policies, the policies he's supported in the past. Because he is truly the lesser of the two evils within the system.
Who might listen to this and don't agree with me, you guys are correct that Biden is better on the courts and he is better on climate change. That's a fact. So if you say, you know what, that's enough and I'll go do what I have to do even though I won't like it, I'm not against you. You do whatever you want, man. I'm seriously not trying to convert people to my way of thinking. But I'm just doing my job here. And when I see that ad, it makes my blood boil. And so I had to share that with all of you.
Okay, and so I'm just going to end it there. I don't really have much more to say about that. But I do believe that you can't believe in changing the system by sitting outside. If you believe you can change the system, then you need to enter the system. You need to support someone within the system. Because my alternative is to burn the system down. But I don't think Kyle is advocating for that. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are much appreciated. Thanks.